All right, so there is a video that basically said that Arena and Swarm will not be permanent modes, and this is the reason why. I wanted to watch this video. It's kind of sucks, but I will show you exactly a more in-depth article of what they said. Basically, blah 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 blah. Don't worry about this. So how did Arena do? Let's get some quick hits on how Arena performed its 4-month run before we dive into details. Arena performed very well for the first 2 months of its run, but then engagement started to dip significantly. We believe this is due to an active novelty and projection systems that would keep Arena players coming back, which is 100% true. Once you get the Gladiator, there's no really point of playing for a lot of players, and people who are around 8,000 to 10,000 MMR, the players that I played with, or sorry, LP, whatever you want to call it, they didn't really, there's like nothing to play for. And the problem with being at such a high rank was it was stupid. If you got under 5th place or 4th place, sorry, you would lose 200, even 150 LP, and if you won, you only got 48 or 24, depending if you got first or second. So it was a very negative experience for just playing at all, and it was not that fun. It wasn't that good. The content refresh, a batch of new augments, didn't meaningfully change how you all played Arena. No one came back after it came, no one cared. Arena saw a noticeable dip in engagement during the Swarm's first patch, which makes sense, yes. Overall, gameplay changes landed with, well, most players, except the Koi Pond map kind of sucked. Game complexity increased with the introduction of prismatic items, meaning players that weren't motivated theory crafters had a hard time getting into Arena, so it's bad for casual fans. Players weren't fans of the new cameos, or a few cameos. Jin, that's true, when they were too powerful and influential over the outcome of the game. That's true. There's another one. Leaderboard system did not hold well with the increased runtime of Arena. Arena managed to carve out a small yet dedicated player base, but still didn't come close to ARAM in terms of total players. So it didn't attract a lot of people. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's just not like, if you're playing League, you're gonna play League, and if you're playing TFT, you're playing TFT. Okay. So, given the performance and amount of player engagement during Arena's most recent run, we decided to support Arena as a regularly reoccurring rotating game mode and not to make it permanent. So it'll be back every few months, but that's it. Now, why can't Arena be permanent? So this context is important when we evaluate potential of a new permanent queue in League, which traditionally hasn't been sustainable outside of a Summoner's Rift or ARAM. Arena as it exists today would need 30 regular injections of big updates for players to consider reinvesting their time into this game mode. Simply put, a new batch of augments and items just isn't enough to get players excited enough to jump into the rings of wrath. And while that might seem like a solution to keep Arena around, it isn't that simple for a number of reasons, but it all boils down what we'd be giving up to support Arena. There's a large opportunity cost for us to consider when investing in Arena. Should the team continue working Arena more, or could we put more time and energy into new modes? What about the entire catalog of game modes people haven't seen in years? What if we wanted to work on bringing one of those back? Unlike ARAM, Arena doesn't cleanly inherit gameplay, champion, and item changes from Summoner's Rift. This means that Arena requires a dedicated team to keep the mode on week to week, where the modes with an S. Okay. Basically, I think there's just not a lot of traction for Arena, is what they're trying to say. And to upkeep like new items and all that stuff, they would need a total entire team to be constantly working on it, when they could be working on a few other game modes, maybe a Swarm. But this is another part for it for Swarm, what they're going to be saying about it, which I think they can definitely do for permanent Swarm and keep people around. And what's next for Arena? Now, I understand that might be read as a disappointment for a lot of players, but we're committed to making Arena part of our rotating game modes and using re-releases as an opportunity for more content updates, including update you'll see next year. Some primary improvements we will make to Arena are progression. The leaderboard is simply not meeting expectations on what players would like. Arena God title is a step in the right direction, but expect the team to rethink this experience for a future Arena. Yeah, Arena God was fun. Everyone wanted to get it. It was too hard at first. I think you need like 200 champs or something like that, and you have to get it first, but then it turned to 120 and then eventually like 60 or something like that. Sorry, there's not even 200 champions. It was 120 originally, and then it was 60. Experimentation reward players for choosing to experiment, make it a more enticing option as opposed to forced variance and experimentation for the sake of it. So that means they want people to go like AD Blitz instead of tank or AP Blitz. Well, AP Blitz is really OP. Novelty. How can we introduce more novelty into Arena? How can Arena feel unique as part of whatever event it is part of? Like, yeah. So they're gonna still update it. It's gonna come like 1/3 every year, not even maybe half a year, but it's not gonna be there forever, which kind of sucks. I know we aren't making it permanent, but still one of our 2 most successful mode releases ever. We're incredibly excited for what the future holds for Arena. With that being said, let's talk about Swarm. All right, so let's see what they said. But to put it bluntly, Swarm did really well, particularly since we were a bit hesitant about how a PvE game mode could appeal to League players based on our other previous modes. One immediate conclusion was loud and clear. You are all interested in PvE. The disclaimer that we might match your expectations on what it could look like in the League, so consider that lesson learned. Relative to previous PvE experiences, you can see how Swarm stacks up. Note that these don't capture total hours played, it's just a percentage. Since the given amount of time between releases, our player hours have changed quite a bit. You can see here with this graph, this pink line is Swarm, this is Doombots, I think. Oh wait, this is Odyssey. And this would be Doombots, I think this might be Doombots, this weird line, and then Odyssey. Doombots number 2, yeah, okay. And then this is Star Guardian, damn. So you can see Swarm had a very high percentage play rate. That's pretty interesting. But also, I said they can make it permanent because of, you know, Survive.io. That game you can play forever and have like things to buy in. We have 3 primary takeaways from Swarm initial run that will help us think about future projects for game modes in League. Novelty, surprisingly, is a big deal, unsurprisingly. Swarm pushed League into a new genre, and players were ultimately very receptive to a brand new experience. This followed a similar trend to Arena, in which player sentiment and satisfaction were directly correlated to a fun and novel game experience for League players. Progression helps. Swarm had a progression track created specifically for the Anima Squad event. This was a step in the right direction for PvE as well. As while we expected a drop-off, progression gave players a lot more to strive towards than in previous modes. This meant that players who got invested in Swarm could set objectives for themselves to accomplish, which led them to stick around for longer, so we'll be looking for ways to replicate this going forward. And PvE content is king, yes. Part of what makes ongoing PvE support challenging is designing a pipeline of content that can keep players sustainably engaged. Assuming that's the goal. For Swarm, we always knew it was going to run for 4 weeks, but if we're interested in something that can last players longer, we need to think more about how content updates get scheduled and released to players. Okay, so they're thinking about oh my god, what they're thinking about, like adding prolonged content, right? They're not thinking about 4-week run, they're thinking about like maybe 8 weeks. You know, that's what I see here. They're gonna do something interesting for the next Swarm, so they know what they need to do. Content is king, remember that. We're really excited about how Swarm's reception as game mode and what it means for future of the modes. We're excited to start applying what we've learned to upcoming projects. We don't have anything to share about our next steps with Swarm at the time being. We're looking into how Swarm will fit into our ecosystem. Will fit into our ecosystem. You know, they didn't say this about Arena. They said we're not looking to see how Arena can fit. They know it's not going to be permanent. But for Swarm, they're saying how it can fit into everything. I'm guessing for a long while. What we can do to improve the mode for future events. Okay, so they're definitely interested in a lot. And then it talks about ARAM and rotating game modes. Basically kept this section. I know it's been quiet for how long, but for ARAM mains, I want to let you all know we do have some plans for ARAM that we've been playing around with. I heard on Wild Rift, they had augments or something. They brought something weird. Let me see. I'll just go Google it right now. Augment ARAM. I think it was augments you got. Yes, I think it was here. Holy crap! Wait, there's no way. Look here. What the? Right now, Wild Rift is running a long Hextech event throughout the season in a day or two. Hextech ARAM just got released. Game is the same, but lows 3, 6, 9, 12. Oh my god. What? What? Magic missile? Wait, what the fuck? Wait, this looks... I think that's what they're gonna do with ARAM. Wait. Wait. Wait a minute. That's... Oh my god, I think they're gonna bring it to PC. One last thing you may have noticed is that since the launch of Earth at the start of this year, we've never gone more than a patch without an alternate way to enjoy League, whether it's the Swarm Arena or the re-release of One for All earlier this year. We'll be continuing this trend by releasing Ultimate Spellbook at the start of Split 3 once Arena goes offline. So, okay. Generally speaking, we'd like for players to always have a game mode they can play at any given time in the year. The one planned update for the end of this year, we'll be sharing our 2025 RGM roadmap, as well as updates to our rotating mode strategy in early 2025. So we look forward to that. Okay, so I think they are definitely bringing Arena to ARAM at some point, or maybe another mode for ARAM. But yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Wait, crap.